talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to This Week in Marketing, brought to you by the San Diego chapter of the American Marketing Association.
Welcome. This is your host, Bill Wynn with AMA San Diego. Today we're going to be talking about marketing automation, the joys, benefits, and pitfalls thereof. Joining me in the studio, as always, is my colleague, Sam Wheeler. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here. And then also joining us today is Lars Helgeson with GreenRope. Good morning, Lars.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so GreenRope is a marketing automation platform. Full disclosure, GreenRope is a longtime AMA San Diego sponsor. You know, they are a close friend of ours and trusted counselor. So we're pleased to have Lars join us in the studio this morning. Before we get to the myriad questions I have for Lars this morning, just want to remind everybody of a couple events we have coming up. Once again, our big event of the spring, Art of Marketing Conference, comes up May 11th in Mission Valley. It's a full day event of quality education, networking, socializing, and inspiration at the Crown Plaza Mission Valley. So find more information and tickets at sdama.org. And then also coming up on June 13 is our big SEO Boot Camp 2018. It's the first time we've ever done this in cooperation with Inceive Interactive. 25 lucky participants will have their domains audited and then reviewed in small groups with an SEO strategist. So again, that's limited to only 25 people. It's at UC San Diego Extension. I'm pretty sure it will sell out. So hope to see those of you with interest in growing your organic search channel join us that day at UC San Diego Extension. So back to the topic of the day, marketing automation. Once again, Lars Helgeson with GreenRope. So Lars, tell us a little bit about GreenRope, what the company does, what the platform does.
Yeah, thanks again for having me on. It's great to be a part of the AMA and all the things you guys do. And these events that you post are really beneficial for everybody here in the local community. So, and I know there's a lot of work that goes into making that happen. So really appreciate everything you guys do.
Cool, thank you.
So we started GreenRope about, I've been in business for about 18 years, and we started doing email marketing. And then over the years, we kind of learned how to really help businesses. And really the challenges that most businesses face are really focused around understanding the information that they gather in their business. And it turns into... when you talk to people who run businesses, they have lots of different departments. And the bigger the business, the more departments, the more people that are out running around generating information. And the real challenge was how do we help businesses understand all of this information that they gather? So, look at that. The biggest challenge, when you have a company. You have departments. So you've got someone that's doing marketing, whether that's a full department or whether that's one person, or if you outsource it, that person is doing some kind of marketing. Maybe they're doing email marketing, they're doing web analytics, they're doing landing pages, campaigns, whatever. That information has to get outside of that one person's job. So when they go out and they're running their campaigns, what do you do with that information? And how does that get in the hands of, say, sales? So how does sales leverage that? And then on the other side, how do you get the information that sales gathers back in the hands of marketing? And so we realized that there was a big problem in the market. And back in the day, email marketing in the early days was very new. And, when people would come to us and say, why would I want to send a lot of emails out to a lot of people? And then they realized over time that people actually responded to emails, and it could be actually used for a good commercial purpose if you were responsible with it. And we realized that if we could start to bridge the gap to help businesses leverage that information, we could really help. We could help businesses grow, because the big problem is, so you send an email newsletter out to 5,000 people, and maybe 500 of them read it, or 1,000 of them read it, and 10 of them click, or 50 of them click. What does it actually mean to your business? And even nowadays, there are still people that do old school email marketing. It's sort of It's sort of like the ancient technology now. Because it's been around for so long and so many people do it that when you try to just send email marketing, you're lost in a sea of noise because so many people get so many emails. And so we realized that we really needed to create an integrated platform that can bring all the different pieces together. So if you're a business owner, you want to be able to track your email marketing, your websites, your social media, your videos, your sales channel, your customer service channel, your events, your projects that you're working on, onboarding and HR. All these things generate their own data, and it becomes very difficult as a business owner to try and manage all these different software packages and try to link them all together. And so that really was the genesis behind why we made GreenRope, was because the idea of green for revenue and sustainability, and rope because many strands make a rope strong. So the more things that you can connect together, the stronger your rope, the stronger your business.
Right. So let's define marketing automation for our audience, right? What does marketing automation actually mean? What does a marketing automation platform do? That's
a very good question, because a lot of people there's a lot of misinformation. People think of what's the purpose of marketing automation, and really, if you boil it down to why there is such a thing as marketing automation, it's because we want people to do what people are good at. And really, that's about relationships and creative thought and conversations. Where you don't want a machine involved. I personally I get why there is such a thing as messenger bots, but I'm such a believer in that personal touch. So we should use machines to do the things that machines can do. And so if you can set up automation to help you, so if you know that in your sales process, you're trying to get people to do the same thing, you can use software to encourage that kind of communication. So maybe someone goes to your website and they fill out a form, and that triggers a series of educational emails that get sent to that person. That's a very simple example. But you're using a machine to automate the way you interact with this potential lead or an existing customer. So we use marketing automation as a way to leverage the technology so that if you have people involved, then they step in when they need to be involved. You don't have people there saying, all right, I'm going to write this same email again to the same person. We want to use the same kind of person, the same stage of the sales cycle. We want to use technology to do that. And it kind of reminds me of way back in the day, I don't know if you might remember this. If there was a computer game that came out on Nintendo, it was called Bonk, and so it was old school. This is like college. Just to let you know how old I am. But this thing, it was a computer game where your only weapon was your head. So you could walk around, and so there's sort of like the old school way of doing things where you just kind of do the same thing over and over and over again. Banging your head against things. And so, what we want to do is give someone more tools than just their head. So, you're not just, and I don't mean like your brain, I mean like actually bonking your head into things, So,
yeah.
So, we want to leverage the tools that let us figure out how to engage with people. And so, if you know that at a certain stage that, maybe you have a high value lead that you want to follow up with, and that's when you have a phone call, you want to make sure that gets triggered for your sales team. If you have forms that people fill out and they're just interested in getting information, and you don't need a person involved, then don't have a person involved. And so it turns into it's a strategy thing. It's a a resource utilization thing. How do businesses scale out to do all of those things? So and really marketing automation is built around helping businesses do that.
Okay. You just got back from Europe, right? You were kind enough to want to join us on the show here at 8 in the morning on the Tuesday after you returned from Europe. What was that trip all about? What did you accomplish over there?
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, whenever I get back from Europe, I always wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning for the next week, and I think that's I don't know, this is sort of normal what people do. So for me, this is like mid-afternoon now. Yeah. But yeah, it was it was a great trip. I was in 6 different countries in 3 weeks. And we've got a lot of reseller partners out there. So our technology is used all over the world to help businesses scale. So and really it's part marketing automation and part CRM, because those two pieces need to be linked together. So we help companies with our technology to figure out strategically how do you make it work, and then how do you implement it. And so, and I had some really great meetings there. It's nice to see when companies adopt our platform, what difference they can make. I met with one company that was able to take they're a manufacturing company, and they were able to take their quote request process. So someone says, I want to buy this thing, or I want to custom make this thing, and they had a 30% conversion rate. And when they switched to our platform, they fired all of their salespeople and moved everything inbound, and they changed their conversion rate from 30% to 62%. And that had a profound impact, of course, on the business. I mean, they've grown like 83% in 12 months. It's really impressive to see what they've done. And their marketing automation workflows are fairly complex, but they've made a really significant impact on the business. They had their first profitable year in 6 years. I mean, it turned the company around. Mm-hmm. So if you do this right, it can really make a big difference.
Okay. All right. Well, we're at the end of our first segment here, and so when we get back, we'll talk about a few things here. For example, what kinds of companies benefit from marketing automation. We'll talk a little bit about kind of what the trends look like in marketing automation, and I also want to explore that example you just gave us, right, and find out a little bit about how it was that your client was able to do that,
sure.
And maybe some other examples of companies that have made our marketing automation work. So we'll be right back. You're listening to This Week in Marketing on WSRadio.com.
A podcast or radio show on WS Radio is a great way to create content marketing. Turn prospects into customers into raving fans. Contact Wade at WSRadio.com or call 866-WS-RADIO.
Hi, this is Rob Barnett, CEO and founder of VinVillage.com and the Wine and Dine Show on VinVillage Radio. Do you have a wine, event, product, or service to promote? Then contact VinVillage.com to reach thousands of wine lovers across the country. VinVillage connects like-minded wine enthusiasts with unique and exclusive wines, events, products, and services. To learn more, contact us on VinVillage.com. VinVillage is where wine lovers connect.
I raised $8,000 to build schools for South African children.
After realizing how many people go hungry in San Diego, I now volunteer at a food pantry.
I'm spending the next year doing volunteer projects across 3 countries and helping in ways they designate to be the most helpful.
The WorldLink program at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice recognizes the potential of youth as agents of social change. Learn how you can help youth become a generation of leaders in action at peace.sandiego.edu.
One person has the power to change the world, impact millions of lives, and leave a legacy for lifetimes to come. That person is you. In the New York Times bestseller, What is Your What? Steve Olsher, award-winning author and founder of the Reinvention Workshop, reveals his proven process that has helped thousands of men and women discover, share, and monetize the one thing they were born to do. Grab your free copy now at www.whatisyourwhat.com/free. That's www.whatisyourwhat.com/free.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
You take your smartphone almost everywhere you go. Now WSRadio.com can be there too. Search WS Radio in the Play Store for your Android devices or iTunes for Apple and download the WS Radio application. WSRadio.com on your phone and in your ear everywhere you go. Download the WS Radio application. Do it now. It's very easy. WSRadio.com.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to This Week in Marketing, brought to you by the San Diego chapter of the American Marketing Association.
Welcome back. This is your host, Bill Wynn with AMA San Diego. Once again, I'm joined in the studio by Lars Helgeson, CEO and founder of GreenRope, a AMA San Diego sponsor and marketing automation platform. So, Lars, let's elaborate on marketing automation. So, what kind of companies benefit from marketing automation? What does a typical GreenRope client look like?
Pretty much any company can use it. It depends on what you're doing and how much you want to dive into the whole idea of having it run your business. It's hard to talk about marketing automation without also talking about CRM, because marketing and sales work together all the time. Or they should, yeah. They don't always, but they should. And but the idea is, how do you create a way to leverage what you can learn from all the different channels that you're marketing on? So, you think about what kind of marketing does your business do? You have email marketing, you've got a website, you've got probably some social media, you probably post some videos somewhere. You might do offline advertising, print, all these different ways of reaching out and driving people to have awareness and then interest and then making the decision to, become a customer. So what we want to do is look at the process first. So every business has a process. Every business has some way of saying, this is what my customer journey looks like. And so you start with this awareness, how does someone get aware of your brand? And then what do they do? What are you trying to get them to do so that they become a customer? Anywhere along that line, you're probably going to be able to take advantage of some method of automation. So it could be educating your customers on how your process works or how your product works. That can be done in an automated fashion where someone says, I'm interested, so I want to get this sequence of messages. You could do it in the sense of, if you have a sales team, having an alert when that salesperson's leads are doing something valuable. So, maybe they're on a website, maybe they're watching videos, maybe they're interacting on social media, whatever. The salesperson isn't necessarily going to be sitting there staring at the computer screen waiting for something to happen. So, what they'll do is they'll use marketing automation as a way to integrate listening on all these different channels, and you can do things like lead scoring, where you can say, I have maybe 100 leads in my funnel. I'm a salesperson. I don't want to waste my time on the worst ones. I want to focus my time on the best ones. So we look at all the leads in this funnel, and we can say, salesperson, this particular lead right now is really active. They're on your website. They've opened up your emails. They've filled out a form. Maybe they answered a survey, whatever. All of those can contribute points. And so if I'm a salesperson, I want to follow up when that person is doing something of value. So maybe that person did all of those things this morning, and I know that now is a really good time to follow up with them because I get an alert that says, we've been listening on all these channels, and we see that here's this lead, and this lead is interested. Now is a good time to follow up. And when you do that, the close rates actually take a massive increase, because when you're able to talk to somebody when they need to be talked to, you're way more likely to close them. And so you'll see, depending on who you talk to, what study, you'll see it impacts close rates like 30 to 70% higher. And that's not an accident, because humans are what they are. They have a short attention span, and if you can reach out to them right when they need to be reached out to, then you can actually much more likely to make a difference with them.
Right on. And maybe you can give us some statistics that kind of illustrate for our audience the maturity of the marketing automation industry, so to speak, right? How big is it? Is it growing? Is it expected to grow? Help us out here.
Yeah, I mean, it is a massive industry, and businesses are doing marketing automation. Now, I was part of a study that was that Gartner did, and it was fascinating to see that for as common of a term as it is in the marketing world, that currently right now only 24% of businesses actually effectively use marketing automation. And I was surprised by that because I thought, we live in the marketing world, so we figure, well, everyone thinks like us. But the reality is that setting up marketing automation can be a challenge. It's a big step to go from the caveman, I'm going to send an email newsletter out every week or every month, to let's create a nuanced, personalized way of automating the experience and how we communicate with people as they go through a customer journey. It's a completely different kind of a problem, and it takes more thought, to be honest. You have to really think about your business. How do we engage with people right when they want to be talked to? What are we listening for? What information do we have to hold on to for all these contacts? So the reality of actually implementing marketing automation, it just requires more thinking. It requires more effort. And I think that has – and there's also a lot of misinformation, and sometimes people look at the price point for marketing automation software and they say, wow, that's very expensive, not realizing that the investment will pay itself off way more once you get it up and running and actually in use in your business.
Okay, so you mentioned kind of the technical challenge and the understanding of your business challenge to getting marketing automation implemented. What other pitfalls are there, right? When you see companies kind of struggle to adopt it or struggle to implement it, what kind of stumbling blocks are they running into?
A lot of the problems that people run into are actually not technology related at all. A lot of companies that have marketing automation or want to engage in marketing automation run into some fairly typical roadblocks, and we see this with CRM, we see this with marketing. The challenges that people run into is one big one is just not wanting to change. Human nature being what it is, people like to do what they know how to do. They don't necessarily want to change how they do business. So that's a big stumbling block. The other one is that for marketing automation to really work, it has to talk to the CRM, and the different players all have to work together. And a lot of times in businesses, there's an adversarial relationship between the different departments because marketing likes to blame sales and say, hey, we brought you all these great leads. Why aren't you closing them? And sales likes to blame marketing and say, marketing, you're giving me terrible leads. I can't close them. And if they don't work together, they always have a scapegoat. And what we want to do is break that down and create a teamwork environment where everyone works together. But it takes strong leadership to make sure that those silos get broken down. And it takes a willingness to change a culture from one of this is my empire and don't you touch it to let's figure out how we can share data and help each other do our jobs better. And a lot of times it's easier said than done because, again, people are used to momentum. They're used to being able to say, I don't want to be held accountable. I want to be able to blame somebody else. And when it takes a strong leader to come in and solve what is usually a very human problem. But once you get past that and people see the why, they understand why they're actually doing this. Why are we implementing CRM? Why are we doing marketing automation? What difference is it going to make to the way we do business? When they see that, then it clicks and they'll say, all right, I know why I'm doing this. And so you have to get buy-in from the whole team, which obviously sometimes is hard. Mm-hmm. But the idea of getting everybody on board is really it's the secret to making this work. And you have to work as a company. You have to be a good leader to be able to pull it off because you have to be able to explain what you're doing, why you're doing it, and get people behind you.
So is coaching leaders and teams through that shift in mindset, is that part of what you guys do? I mean, do you guys kind of coach people through that process as you help with an implementation?
We do. So, it really depends on the company. Sometimes companies will come to us and they'll have an internal champion, someone who is the one that's going to make the CRM and the marketing automation all implemented, and they're going to see it through. And in which case, we work directly with that person so that they can then be the leader to sort of define the requirements, to get everyone on board and trained and everything. So sometimes companies come to us with that. Other times companies come to us and say, we don't really know what we're doing. We know we need to get CRM. We know we need to set up marketing automation, but we don't really know how to get from here to there. In which case, then we do more involved implementations where we'll guide them through. We'll meet with them, and usually we just do everything remotely over GoToMeeting. But But sometimes we'll meet with them in person. So it depends on the company. Depends on the company's culture, how much change is actually going to happen. There are a lot of companies out there that have tried and failed because a lot of the challenges that you run into with marketing automation and CRM related software is that all of the components are in different software packages. And so this is the great downfall of a lot of implementations, because they say, well, we know we need to do all of these things, but there is no one single platform that can do all of those things. So now we have to hire developers to manage APIs and move data around and figure out how to make the different players talk to each other, and that gets really expensive and really complicated. So when we step in at that point, we have to kind of educate them that there's a different way of doing things, where rather than buying 6 or 7 or 10 different pieces of software, we come in and say we're one piece of software that replaces all of those things. And so it's a different way of thinking, it's a different way of operating, and so there's a lot of every problem is different, every company is different. So, but we try to help them through all of those different pitfalls.
I have to imagine that even if there is an internal champion, you guys still are at a vantage point where you can see things going off the rails.
Oh, sure.
Right, and you can see kind of those cultural difficulties and shifts that need to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's, like I said, it's a human thing. You've got personalities at play. You've got some people that, for whatever reason,
turf protection.
Yeah, some people, there may be personal conflicts. Like, I just hate this person. I don't want to work with them. So we have to kind of help with that a little bit. So it's all, sometimes when you talk to consultants, they'll tell you like there's some psychology involved too.
All right, well, let's stop there. We'll pick it back up in the next segment. You're listening to This Week in Marketing with AMA San Diego on WSRadio.com.
Securing Our eCity Foundation is a nonprofit organization focused on cybersecurity awareness and education. Formed in 2011, their mission is to enable every San Diegan to live, work, and play safely in the cyber world. For more information, visit securingourecity.org or call 619-630-2444. Securingourecity.org, 619-630-2444. Securingourecity.org.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
Take a break from politics. Tune in and learn something. WS Radio shows are worth your time and are filled with tips and advice. Add us to your lunch routine and we'll give you a meal for your mind.
Kenja Dixon was crowned the #1 sales executive through hard work, deep thinking, and the revelation of Universal Talk Laws. He now wants to share these lessons with you. Universal Talk Laws are what you need to know and use in business and at home to have successful and effective conversations. Kenja Dixon shares his wisdom, action plans, and wealth. Each book comes with a chance to win $10,000. Find Universal Talk Laws at KenjaDixon.com.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813. 548-6813.
Small businesses are the lifeblood of America's economy. Every Thursday, SBA Radio interviews industry professionals and is dedicated to provide small businesses with timely insights and innovations. Visit www.sbaradio.us for details.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to This Week in Marketing, brought to you by the San Diego chapter of the American Marketing Association.
Welcome back. This is your host, Bill Wynn. Thanks for joining us for another hour of This Week in Marketing with AMA San Diego. We're talking about marketing automation today. Before we get back to our topic, once again, a reminder of our two big upcoming events. The 2018 Art of Marketing Conference, our biggest event of the spring, takes place May 11th at Crowne Plaza Mission Valley. It's a full day of marketing education, inspiration, networking. So check out sdama.org for information and tickets. And then also our first ever AMA San Diego SEO Bootcamp takes place June 13th. Space limited to only 25 attendees. Pretty sure this thing's going to sell out. So if you intend to go and have your domain reviewed with an SEO strategist in this full day session, you should register soon. Once again, sdama.org for more information. So back to our good friend Lars Helgeson, founder and CEO of GreenRope. So Lars, tell us, if you would please, how important is content in this process, right? So we've talked about using marketing automation to as a labor-saving way to connect with your audience, but how important is the information that you provide them on the back end? And kind of what drives this question is another of our sponsors, Elevator, and our good friend Frank Cole. One of the things he always says is, what problem can I help my customer solve today, right? Yep. So our goal is not always to sell, right? It's to inform, educate, entertain. So what is the interplay between marketing automation and content?
Yeah, well, I like Frank. I've known him for a long time. He's a really good guy, and he's very smart. And he's right. I mean, really, you have to think of it from the perspective of what are we helping our customer with? And so that content has to be relevant, and it has to be timely. And it has to be something it's attractive enough that someone's going to want to actually look at it and feel confidence that it's good. So there's a lot of elements that make good content, And so if it doesn't look very good, if it looks like it's dated, if the design of the page looks like it came from 1998, no one's going to, even if it's the best content in the world, they're not going to read it. And conversely, if it looks really great and it's just a fluff piece, then people aren't going to respond to it. They're not going to read it, and you're going to alienate your audience. So you have to strike that balance where you can try to do that for, when you think about what the strategy is, what are you trying to accomplish, what problem are you solving, and you think about when someone is going through this customer journey, and they're going to go from the beginning where they learn about you to learning about what you do to deciding that they want to purchase some product or service from you, that modeling, whether it's done sort of at a high level or even more detailed, you have to think in terms of at every step, how can I present information that is going to be helpful to that person going through that buying process? And so that content itself has to it has to be relevant. It has to be easy to digest. It has to be you don't want to give someone too much information all at once, and at the same time, you don't want to have it so minimal that they don't want to do anything. So, it's all part of the understanding the customer journey. And so, if we can create a way to communicate this in an automated fashion, so that if someone is interested in a particular product, you can offer that product to them in a way that helps them understand educationally why is that so helpful, and then also how does that subtly kind of drive them towards doing what you want them to do. So it's really that content really is important, and a big part of that is personalizing content, so that that if this person they're going through your buyer's journey and they're learning about your product or service, if you know something about them, maybe that they're a homeowner. Maybe that they have a family. Maybe that they live in a certain location, or their age or their gender or whatever. having that data available to help you personalize the message really influences how likely someone is to communicate with you. And it's just, again, that's human nature. People want to feel like this person knows me. They know what I'm interested in. And not in a creepy way, like I know where you live, so I'm going to give you this product. But it's more like we have a feeling that you're probably interested in this. And because we know. And so one of the things that we have is an integration with a couple of data providers that when you have contacts in your system, we can automatically go out and hit those data providers and pull back information like your Facebook page, your LinkedIn page, your Twitter URL, how many followers you have. And then we can also do things like how many, are you a homeowner? Are you a renter? How long have you lived there? What's your income? That kind of thing. So having that data pulled into the CRM and the marketing automation tool means that you can then personalize content. So you know if a person is coming in, maybe a high net worth individual is going to get a different message than someone who's not a high net worth individual because they're going to have different desires, different needs, different things that they're going to respond to. So information, again, is always power. So the more you know about someone that's coming through your buying process, your buyer's journey, the better you can target your messaging. And so that's really the crux of the issue is you want to have good, relevant content delivered in a timely fashion that looks good and is personalized for that individual. So as personal as you can make it.
And I think what we're saying here is that in the best case, not only is the email message that goes out and the timing of it, not only is that targeted at the demographics or other characteristics of that audience member, but the content on your website that you're sending that person to is also very targeted.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a concept that people, I'm sure you guys know, the PURL, the personalized URL, where when you know who that person is coming to that website, when you can customize that website for them, then they know that it's not just an email mail merge, that now they're going to a web page that's made just for them. That content is going to be more attractive to them. They're going to read it because they're going to say, this is really interesting. This was made for me. And that makes them want to engage with you.
Right. How easy is it to set up workflows and sequences in an automation platform? How easy should it be?
It should be easy. It's not always easy. We designed our system to be very drag and drop. You just kind of drag things in, and you can choose what you want to have happen, and it's pretty intuitive. But really, what I always say is, you as a business owner, you have to you step back and you take that 30,000-foot view of your business. So you come up with your strategy and you say, I know that when this person hits, maybe they see an ad and then they're going to go to my website, and then I want them to fill out this form, and then we're going to follow up with them. And if they read the email, this happens. If they don't read the email, this happens. If they visit this page, then we can do this, whatever. You draw all that out. There should be no limitations on the software. You should be able to say, this is what I want to have happen. Now, software, go do that for me. And it should be simple enough to be able to do that. You shouldn't be limited and say, oh, the software doesn't support this unless I go out and I hire a developer, or I go out and I buy another piece of software, and then I have to hire the developer to link the two pieces together. Once you start doing that, you don't have to do that. You're making a choice to say, I'm going to throw a bunch of complexity into my business process. And for no reason, because there is software out there that's designed to be easy to use that integrates all these different channels together. And you want to choose that software that doesn't limit you from what you want to have happen. So really, you should only be limited by your imagination.
And in terms of implementing a system like this, what are the KPIs that you should look at that will tell you if you've done it correctly?
Now, that's a very good question, because
notice I didn't ask you what's the right email open rate.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's a very important distinction, because your KPIs are not your email open rate. You want to look at your sales process. And so part of what you do when you set up marketing automation, you're kind of designing this workflow. You want to look at, what does that actual process look like? So you might model it in a funnel. And funnels are a good way of visualizing data, understanding the limitations of funnels, because people don't necessarily progress linearly down a sales process. They may go from stage 1 to 2 to 3 and then lose interest and then come back to stage 2 and then jump to stage 4, whatever. however you're modeling your sales process. But if you're able to set up a funnel as a good way to track people going through, you can keep track of how long people stay in each stage. You can see what percentage drop-off rate do you have when you go from stage to stage. What are you doing when they do drop out, and what sort of re-engagement metrics do you have? So tracking things like that, when you have campaigns looking at how many page views on average do people coming from that campaign actually generate on your website? So you have different ways of measuring metrics, and they're all very they're very specific to the business, and which is why I'm glad you voiced it that way, because it's very much what are we actually trying to get people to do? And it's not open emails. I mean, obviously that's part of it, but really we're about understanding process and how effective is our process at getting people to move down this customer journey and do what we want them to do.
Right. And so I imagine, though, that the ultimate KPI is growth, right? Mm-hmm. The ultimate KPI, you mentioned the Swiss company, and in the next segment we'll go a little more in depth on kind of what they and some other examples of success stories look like. But I imagine that conversion growth, sales growth, those are the kinds of things we're ultimately looking for here.
Yep, exactly. And especially because you have different campaigns that you're running, and you're going to have a lot of it is ROI calculation. So you're going to spend a certain amount of money on some sort of marketing, whether it's print or pay-per-click or social media advertising, whatever. And we want to be able to measure how effective each of those are.
Right. Okay, we'll be back for our final segment in just a moment. You're listening to This Week in Marketing with AMA San Diego on WSRadio.com, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
You take your smartphone almost everywhere you go. Now WSRadio.com can be there too. Search WS Radio in the Play Store for your Android devices or iTunes for Apple, and download the WS Radio application. WSRadio.com, on your phone and in your ear everywhere you go. Download the WS Radio application. Do it now. It's very easy. WSRadio.com.
On the internet, your business's reputation can be unjustly destroyed in an instant. Don't wait for that to happen. Building and marketing your 5-star reputation can increase your business by as much as 19%. Take control of your reputation and have the 5-star reputation you deserve with Reputation Marketing Solutions by DSI Development. Become the go-to company by visiting 5starrepmarketing.com. The number 5starrepmarketing.com.
Nowadays, internet devices are an integral part of your home. Everyone in your family has a smartphone, tablet, or a computer. Life is easier knowing that all your devices are secured and your family can surf the internet carefree. ESET Multi-Device Security Pack does just that. One license for all your devices. With ESET, it's simple to stay protected and save money. Enjoy safer technology with ESET Multi-Device Security Pack at ESET.com. That's ESET.com.
You may have heard me brag about Progressive Medical Center and just how much they've helped me with my health. And Dr. Goli, one thing that you have helped so many people with is migraines.
Unfortunately, there are millions and millions of Americans who are suffering with migraines and headaches, and they're debilitating because it affects the quality of their life, and they cannot function properly. At Progressive, we get to the root cause because we understand that migraines could be caused by nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalances, believe it or not, delayed food sensitivities. And once we determine what the real reason is, we put a plan of action together with medication that we get them off slowly, and we put them on an all-natural approach, and the results are amazing.
Incredible. I mean, there's so many people that can say they don't live their lives with migraines anymore thanks to Progressive Medical Center.
And that's what's exciting and rewarding to us as physicians, because we help our patients take control of their health, and that's why they're living well.
Why don't you get a hold of Progressive Medical Center today? Don't live in pain. Don't have migraines anymore. Just go to their website, progressivemedicalcenter.com.
This is your life. Live it well.
Did you know the majority of radio listeners are between the ages of 35 and 54, have a household income of more than $100,000, are classified as executives or professionals, and share the show they listen to? Become part of the Peggy Smedley Show to reach listeners looking for information on connected devices through cost-effective radio commercials or segment sponsorships. Contact us at 630-933-0844 for more information or visit PeggySmedleyShow.com.
Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Welcome to This Week in Marketing, brought to you by the San Diego chapter of the American Marketing Association.
Welcome back for our final segment. This is your host, Bill Wynn with AMA San Diego. We're talking about marketing automation today with Lars Helgeson, CEO and founder of GreenRope. So a couple segments ago, Lars, we talked about one client of yours who managed to propel their conversion rate from 30 to 60. And this was a Swiss manufacturing company, right?
Yeah.
So what can you give us some examples of some of the things they did, right? Some of the actions they took that really made an automation platform work for them?
Yeah, so we do our platform is designed to support B2C and B2B types of marketing. So a lot of their marketing is a little bit more B2B. So they have an online store, so you can go out and interested in buying their products, and you can fill out, I'm interested in this particular object or some custom work. And then they submit that quote, and they have then a technical salesperson work with that quote and then follow up. And what they've done is they've set up automation around, in response to that quote, here's what we have. And then they listen and they say, okay, we're going to give them eight or 9 business hours to click on a link that says, yes, I accept this quote, or I don't accept this quote. If they don't, then there's another message that goes out to them that says, hey, we sent you this quote. We noticed you didn't react. Is there something that we can do? Then they wait again. So it's building this logical tree that says, here's and the customer journey. What are we trying to get the customer to do? We're trying to get the customer to say, yes, I want this quote to be accepted, or I accept this quote, and I want you to start building. And so everything is around, how do we get that to happen? And sometimes someone will say, I want a quote, but I don't want to build this thing, or I don't want to buy this thing for another month. So when they do that, then they schedule an automated follow-up that says, 3 weeks later, that says, hey, follow up with this person. So the salesperson gets a reminder that says, hey, this person had this quote set up. There's an email that warms them up that says, hey, a salesperson will follow up with you in the next day to talk to you about this quote. And so it's automating this whole process. The salesperson then doesn't have to really do anything to remember, because the system remembers for them. The system warms up the lead for them that says, hey, this is going to be happening. So when the phone call comes in, it's not a surprise. And in so doing, they had 10 outbound salespeople. These salespeople would go out and they would shake hands. With these people, they'd stop by the office and they'd bring them breakfast, or they'd go golfing, or do all these the sort of the
traditional salesy things.
Yeah, and so they were finding that they were doing an okay job, but they weren't growing. And so the sales manager, they hired a new sales manager, and he came in and said, I'm going to do something completely different. I'm going to fire every single salesperson, and we're going to switch our whole strategy, which was a pretty bold move. When you show up at a company and you say, we're just going to fire the whole sales staff. And they switched everything to a strategy that relied on our platform as a way to organize how the sales process worked. And it really changed their whole business. And very much for the better. Now they run way more efficiently. They don't waste time on doing things that people don't really care about. And because they're talking about selling to engineers, they're selling to people, to people that are the project managers, product managers that need their products. Going out to the office and shaking hands and playing golf with those people was not nearly as effective of a way to generate customers and retention than a good strategy of following up and sending education when you need to send it, and actually managing that sales process. So it was really a revolutionary change for them, and it didn't happen overnight. It took them about a year to transition everything to this new fully automated approach. And but the end result has been phenomenal for them, and it's amazing to watch a company go through that kind of a transformation.
I think one thing to take note of in the story you just told is that most people think of our marketing automation as nurturing the customer through the sales cycle, right? But it's also communicating with the internal team, right? About what to do next. So it's not purely outbound communications. There's some internal communications there as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, and because a lot of things that happen internally are they may be sales related, they may be customer service related. You think about what happens when someone goes to, maybe they have an issue with something that you did with them. If you sell a product, you want to give them a way to complain or say, I have an issue with this, and have that customer service angle covered by your CRM and your marketing automation. So someone comes in and they say, hey, I have a problem with X. They open up a support ticket, and then as a result, someone follows up with them. They stay with them. The support ticket has to be closed to say the issue was resolved, which makes it for a good customer service experience. And then you can tie in marketing automation around that. So you can say, here's this person who came in with a problem, and as a result, we closed the issue and everything is all good. Let's send them a message that says thank you for this, or give them something, maybe a discount off your next sale or whatever, something to reinforce that experience, because that customer experience and someone feeling valued by your company is what's going to bring them back. That's how you turn people from being just customers into being advocates for your brand.
Great. What other success stories or best practices can you share with our audience, either GreenRope customers or other companies out there that you see really using automation smartly?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot. There are a lot of companies that we can point to, and obviously Amazon is very well known for this. Booking.com, we were talking about this earlier, is very good at this, where they'll see if you're searching for something, they'll personalize the message for you and say that we know you were searching for here. We're going to throw your name in the message that we send to you with things that are relevant to what you have searched for in the past. And so if we can do that with our own businesses, and we think about what do we learn about our customers, how can we leverage what we do learn as a way to interact with them, to engage them with what we're trying to sell them to do. So, in the Booking.com example, they know that you want to travel to this particular location, so they're going to find deals that they can in those locations that are going to be relevant to you. If you can translate that into your own business model and say, here's something that's relevant to you because you're interested in X. So we do this ourselves, where if someone comes to us and they're primarily looking for GreenRope as a CRM tool, we can give them information, and we do give them information that's more driven around sales. If someone comes to us and says, well, we're more interested in GreenRope as a marketing automation tool, we're not going to throw them as much information about sales because they're more interested in marketing. So same with customer service, same with project management and event management, all these different things. So it's about understanding what you offer to different market segments and making sure that they get that relevant information right when they need it.
Okay, we've got about a minute and a half left, and this next topic is potentially a meaty one, so we're going to have to cut it short. But how important is testing, right? A/B testing in the world of automation. Describe that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, testing. We could talk for an hour about testing, but yeah, I mean,
next time.
Yeah, there's no. What it really comes down to is that if you ask someone, "What should I do with my business?" the answer is never, "You should do this," because you don't know the answer of what you should do. The only thing that you know is that there are a lot of different options that you think may resonate with your target audience, but you don't know until you test. And so whether that's testing different versions of an email, different versions of a landing page, different types of headlines on your website, until you actually do that testing, you don't know the answer to any of that. And so testing is absolutely critical. It's that feedback loop that us marketers absolutely need to have. If we don't have that listening, if we're not trying different things and continually evolving our messaging, then we lose touch with our customers. And that's of course what we want to avoid. We want to make sure that everything that we present to them is something that's engaging. And you don't know until you're measuring, if you're doing emails, you're measuring different types of versions to see which one has a better click rate, different web pages to see which ones convert better. So, and that's the nice thing about marketing automation is we can look at that whole process.
Great. Lars, I want to thank you for joining us in the studio today and also for your longtime sponsorship of the chapter. It's been great.
Yeah, happy to be a part of it.
Okay. Thanks for listening to This Week in Marketing with AMA San Diego on WSRadio.com.
Securing Our eCity Foundation is a nonprofit organization focused on cybersecurity awareness and education. Formed in 2011, their mission is to enable every San Diegan to live, work, and play safely in the cyber world. For more information, visit securingourecity.org or call 619-630-2444. securingourecity.org, 619-630-2444. securingourecity.org.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
Looking to be a successful entrepreneur? The virtual assistant industry continues to be a top choice for those looking to start their own business. The problem can be how to become a virtual assistant. Many turn to the Bible of the VA industry, the book Virtual Assistant, the series, and it's the perfect guide for office managers, executive assistants, and other administrative professionals looking to make the transition from employee to successful business owner. Go to vatheseries.com to get your copy today.
Hi, Scale listener. This is David Finkel, co-host with Jeff Hoffman of Scale Your Business. I wanted to let you know that our newest book, Scale, was just released, and to encourage you to get your copy. The book will give you 7 proven principles to grow your business and get your life back. Scale will help you work less by getting your business to produce more. Get your copy online or at your local bookseller. For more information, visit us online at scaleyourbusinesstoolkit.com.